What's up, YouTube? I'm here doing my prediction video for UFC Fight Night Bermudez versus the Zombie. Sorry this video is coming out a little bit late, but I've been really sick and I've been moving, as you can see behind me. So if I sound funny or if this video is late, like I said, I apologize, but I've been sick and I've been moving. So anyway, let's start at the bottom. The first fight is Daniel Jolly versus Khalil Roundtree, and both these guys are basically just strikers, but Khalil looks like he's more explosive and more technical of a striker overall. I think that this fight will stay standing until one of these guys knock each other out, and I think Khalil will probably get the first round knockout. Next is Alex Moreno versus Nico Price, and Nico Price looked good in his debut, but he was fighting a guy who couldn't really grapple very well in Brandon Thatch. Alex Moreno, in my opinion, he's already fought a really good grappler and a really good striker. He was really good in both those fights. And I didn't think he was going to win either of those fights. He didn't look amazing outside the UFC. He just looked okay, but he's looked really good since he's come in. And I think he's going to get the job done this fight. I think these guys are pretty similar. They're both decent everywhere, but I think Alex has just proven himself to me against the better competition. I think he'll win a decision. Next is Tecia Torres versus Bec Rawlings. And Bec Rawlings to me is just okay. I think Tecia Torres is a lot better. I think Tecia will be able to kind of just do what she always does. Stuff takedowns and just use her karate to kind of get a dominant 30-27 decision. Next is Ricardo Ramos versus Michinori Tanaka. And Ricardo Ramos was on the Dana White looking for a fight. He looks like he's just a jiu-jitsu guy to me. He has some striking, but he's not amazing. I think Tanaka's the much better wrestler overall. I think that Ricardo's going to have a really hard time taking Tanaka down. And I think that Tanaka will be able to kind of just outstrike him on the feet. And I think Tanaka's going to win by knockout, probably in the second or third round. Next is Chaz Skelly versus Chris. This guy's last name is really hard to say, but Chris, he was on that season of The Ultimate Fighter, the like Europe versus America one. He was pretty good, you know what I mean. He's a really strong wrestler. He's got good striking too. He's kind of got that forward, really high volume, high pressure fighting style. I think Chaz Skelly is kind of similar, but I think his submission game is a little bit better. I also think Chaz Skelly is a little bit better conditioned overall and a little bit better of a wrestler. And I think Chaz Skelly will probably either win a decision or maybe get a late submission. Next is Adam Milstead versus Curtis Blades. And Curtis, to me, he's just a wrestler. His striking is really shit. I think in every single one of his UFC fights, even though he's like 2-1, all the fights he's won, he almost got knocked out. And then the one fight he lost, he did get knocked out. I think Adam Milstead's got good enough striking and takedown defense where he can catch Chris and probably win by first round KO. Next is Jason Andrade versus Angela Hill. And I think Angela Hill actually has a better shot at this fight than a lot of people might think. I think she's really good with her movement and using really long strikes. I think Jessica Andrade is like the exact opposite. She fights really like condensed and short. I think that Angela Hill could win this fight, but I don't think she will. I think sooner or later, Jessica's going to pin her up against the fence, take her down, and win with like a submission. Next is Anthony Hamilton versus Marcel Fortuna. And Marcel, he just looks way smaller than Anthony Hamilton. And I don't think his wrestling is as strong as Anthony Hamilton's is. I think Anthony will be able to take him down and just beat him up and probably win by first or second round TKO just from ground and pound. Next is OSP versus Volkan Ozdemir. I can't say this guy's name very well, but he's actually a really good striker. His record is like 12-1, and most of his wins are by knockout. He's really technical, but his ground game's just okay. I think OSP's got better range and better speed, but I think Volkan's got the better striking overall. But I think OSP's got the much better wrestling / like ground and pound game. And I think Volkan could win this fight if it gets into like the late second, third round, but I don't think it will. I think OSP will take this guy down sooner or later in the first and probably win by TKO. Next is Abel Trujillo versus James Vick, and this is like the OSP fight but I think James Vick has a much better shot winning this fight. I think the first two rounds, Abel Trujillo is gonna be probably the better, faster wrestler, striker. But if James Vick can kind of wear him down and take it to like the late second, early third, I think James Vick could get a submission or a TKO. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think James Vick's going to survive the early striking and wrestling and probably win by like submission with like a guillotine or a rear naked choke come like the third round. Next is Alexa Grasso versus Felice Herring, and I know people are going to pick Alexa Grasso. She's probably a pretty big heavy favorite, but to me, all of her knockout wins were against kind of shitty people, and all of her decision wins were against good people. She's a good striker, but to me, that's about it. Her grappling is just okay. I think Felice Herring might not be as good of a striker, but to me, Felice Herring hasn't really lost to a whole lot of really good strikers. Most of her losses were to chicks who are much better grapplers than her. And she's really a grappler in her own right. She's like a brown belt under the Curran brothers. And we've seen in the UFC, she's got a couple submission wins. I think people forget how good her ground game is. And I think she has a decent shot winning this fight, and I'm actually going to pick her. I think sooner or later she will get this fight to the ground. And I think when she does, she'll probably win by like armbar or a naked choke. So I'm picking Felice Herring. Finally, we got Dennis Bermudez versus Chan Sung Jung. The only thing in this fight is Jung hasn't fought in like 2 years. I know he was in the military, so he was probably in decent shape. It wasn't like he was hurt. They're required. They have like a 2-year obligation to serve in the military over there in South Korea. And I think that he's been on a layoff, and that could definitely hurt him. But I feel like he's a good stylistic matchup. Like he's got a very good shot at beating Dennis Bermudez. I mean, I feel like his striking is better than Bermudez's is. I think Bermudez is definitely the much better wrestler, but we've seen in the past, Dennis Bermudez has a lot of submission losses. His submission defense, in my opinion, has been great. I feel like he leaves himself open to a lot of submissions. He kind of just relies on his big body and muscular body to kind of pull out of stuff. But we've seen he's been submitted with chokes like outside the UFC. And in the UFC, I think he lost to Diego by armbar. And a couple of fights, like when he fought Jimmy Hedges and Pablo Garza, both those guys got really close more than once. And I think Chan Sung Jung is a much better submission guy than either of those two guys, and a much better striker. So to me, the only thing is the layoff. But if he looks good despite the layoff, I think Jung should win this fight all day. I think his striking is better, and I think his grappling overall is better. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, guys.